Hello, folks, and welcome to James Hill Sports. It is a pleasure to be with a quality human being. He is a quality young gentleman. You look at Westwood, California, in UCLA, and you look at the Rose Bowl, and you see the quarterback. He is a quality student athlete. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to meet Mr. Chase Griffin. Chase, how are you, sir? How's it going, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me, James. I look forward to having a good conversation.
Talk a little bit about your journey to get to UCLA. I know it began at the beginning of your life, if you will, and once a Bruin, always a Bruin. But just talk a little bit about how you became part of the UCLA family, if you will.
Absolutely. So I was born actually right down Wilshire, probably around 10-minute drive from where I'm at now, at UCLA Santa Monica Hospital. And growing up there until I was about 4 or 5, that's when I moved to Texas. I consider myself a Texan, but I was absolutely a born Bruin. And over the years, always loved football, and I was in the right state to play it too. In Texas, I actually had the opportunity of having that Friday Night Lights environment around me. And then once I got to college and once I got to my junior year of high school and the offer from UCLA came and I was on campus just looking around. I was playing for Chip Kelly. I was going to the school that I believed I was destined to go to. It was a no-brainer for me. And over my time here at UCLA, it's been nothing but one huge blessing. And I definitely see so many wins along the way that led me to this point.
Chase, the state of Texas, you talk about high school football, Friday Night Lights, Central Texas Player of the Year, Gatorade Player of the Year, a top player in the country, a top quarterback. Talk about shifting and getting back to the West Coast, the West Side, if you will. It's UCLA, and it's all about Westwood and getting a quality education. Take us from your journey from Texas high school into Westwood.
My journey through high school is, I'd say, to say the least, unforgettable. And I still, at this age, probably haven't reflected on it, the point that I will in the future, but I'm so grateful. My freshman through my senior year, each year had their own struggles, own successes, own things that I learned to help make me the person that I am today. So grateful for the town of Pato, Texas, for embracing me those 4 years. And I'm grateful for all my teammates that I had. And when I really look back, I just smile because there'll never be a time, not just in football, but in life, that will be just like those 4 years that I had. And it's definitely a special place. I have a lot of great memories of me on and off the field. It was a great school, a great community. And I think being able to sort of be the face for that program and for that town for that time prepared me for some of the things that I'm doing now, whether they be on the football side, NIL side, or even just life. And I'm really grateful for that town, for the opportunity that God gave me, being able to represent a one-horse high school town.
NIL, name, image, and likeness. And what better place to do it than UCLA, Southern California, the Los Angeles market with Hollywood, if you will, right down the street. Talk about NIL, and you've been recognized in that regard and what that's been like for you as a quality student athlete.
Oh, thank you for that. So NIL has been a huge door opener for, I think, all athletes, and myself included. Something that's really cool as a Bruin is we get to say that one of our own spearheaded it with Ed O'Bannon. So I just want to take time right now and say, thank you, Ed O'Bannon. We wouldn't have the opportunities and new avenues in industry that we have if it wasn't for people like Ed O'Bannon who fought for the rights back then. In that same spirit, we always try to find ways at UCLA to push culture forward. And I think NIL allows for us as student athletes and collegiate athletes to take new avenues to make that step forward. And there's a lot of things in the NIL market that I think even the media is starting to learn. whether that be finding out how kids can get into the venture stage area, finding out how kids can get into the startup ecosystems on their campuses. How can they use media to drive their name forward now? That way, 2 to 3 years from now, when they're out of college, they're already household names. I think these are things that go along with sport, but are also independent of sport. When you look at all these campuses, especially a place like UCLA, there already are students at these campuses that are excellent in content creation, that are excellent in building their brand. And when we look around, now we're able to partake in that. And we do have a little hidden advantage because we're on TV playing every single week. But at the end of the day, it's just the ability to work. And the kids who recognize this and capitalize on this not only create great success for themselves now, but also set great habits that can lead to generational wealth being built for their families in the future.
Chase, the transfer portal, talk a little bit about what that looks like, where you have different student athletes with the opportunity to shift gears, so to speak, and go to another campus. It used to be you had to sit out, you couldn't move immediately, you had to sit out. Now you can make some movement. Talk a little bit about what the transfer portal looks like.
Absolutely. So with the transfer portal, I think it's a double-edged sword, but at the end of the day, kids should always have the right to go somewhere else and play. If coaches have that same right, administrators have that same right. The people who make decisions that are affecting our lives every single day in our schedules, our operation, what our work, physical and mental work can lead to, can just go to another program the next day. And if we don't have that same right, that just sort of points out the power imbalances that are still being struggled to work through in the NCAA. As far as going to the portal, I think it's completely up to the kid. I would say, however, unless you have somewhere in mind where, you know, there's reciprocity on how they feel about you going somewhere else, the transfer portal can also be a dangerous place where kids don't make it out and it essentially turns into dropping out of college. So I think there's a lot that goes into transferring, the same way there's a lot that goes into choosing the school that you go to coming out of high school. And at the end of the day, I think it's the student athlete's life. They should have that opportunity to make that decision and live with the consequences, either positive or negative.
We hear so much about HBCU football and Power 5 football and college football, different levels. Talk a little bit about your experiences in Power 5 and what that's been like for you personally.
Playing against large programs at a program is something that I'm used to. You know, it was something that I was used to coming out of Texas high school football and now here at UCLA. And I consider it a huge blessing that we have the resources that we have. And I think eventually in a couple of years, especially with the Big Ten, we'll have more resources. And I'm excited to be part of a couple committees that are actually providing insight on how to best use those resources. As far as playing at a P5, it's amazing, but it's also a P5 with an extremely large wealth of Black history. And I'm so grateful to be at a place where Jackie Joyner-Kersee, Jackie Robinson, Arthur Ashe, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar all went, and so many others, Ralph Bunche, like the list is actually crazy when you look at it. And to be able to come from a school that, yes, is a PWI, but the history here and the people who are truly haymakers that have come from UCLA, that history is not exclusively PWI. That is a history that is historically Black. And I'm very grateful to wear the 4 letters on my chest.
Chase, in looking at the football schedule coming up this fall, later in the season, there's Colorado. We're hearing a lot of noise coming out of Colorado. I had the opportunity to cover Coach Prime in Jackson State just a few days ago at the Celebration Bowl. But talk a little bit about Boulder and Colorado and Coach Prime coming in. And again, it's all about the Pac-12, and guys are very competitive.
Absolutely. I think when you're a competitor, you always want to compete against the best. And to have a coach who, you know, as a player is an all-timer at their position, really in all positions, it's going to be cool seeing him on the same football field. And I always enjoy going to Boulder. I think they'll actually be here at the Rose Bowl next year, but I enjoy that stadium. Uh, Being able to again play against him and his program in their first year, I think is great. I think it's great for the conference. Anytime you add a big name, it adds juice. More people watch all the games. That helps with a plethora of things. And at the end of the day, whoever we line up against, we're going to compete. We're going to practice well that week and come out on Saturday and win. I think playing against a star coach doesn't really affect the way that we play. At the end of the day, we play against players. He's going to have his best 11 on the field. We're going to have our best 11, and we're going to go at it.
Chase, in closing, are there any final comments as you think about life as a student athlete, what it's like for you in Westwood, NIL, getting a quality education, just being a great human being and being a leader for tomorrow, but you're actually leading today? Is there any final comments you want to make?
Absolutely. I mean, first off, thank you for having me on. I hope the tidbits that I shared today help someone in their life. I'd say as a college athlete, there's so many different avenues. We're a college student, so there's already that plethora of things that we're learning, experiencing, and growing in while in college. And then we're also athletes. But remain yourself in all of that. We're not just an athlete. We're not just a student. You're a human being, like James said. And for those who can find the best growth each day as a human being and find the wins in whatever they're doing, I think that's a healthy mindset, because at the end of the day, there could be 12 wins, but if you get 11 of them, then you're winning big. And being able to not let that one thing that's not going perfectly in your life, or that one thing that you didn't get, distract you from all the wins that you're getting, whether it be on scholarship or you're on a college campus or you're playing every single day at a facility that's beautiful. These are all things that people would look at and say, you're living the dream life. And I think sometimes as college athletes, we live a life where you do always feel tired. You do always feel overworked, but sometimes you need to take a step back and keep a heart of being grateful and keep a heart of grace. And I think whether it be setting your priorities with faith at the top or something that grounds you, staying on track. And at the end of the day, you just need to win each and every moment that you're in and understand that it is a learning process. It is a growing process, but you are in the best possible opportunity to do that.
Well, folks, there you have it from Mr. Chase Griffin. He is the quarterback, a quality student athlete at UCLA. I had to do that. Folks, you're watching James Hill Sports, and we will be right back.